And so the call to ministry, I believe, is first of all an internal call. And it is the call for you to continuously move into and keep reaching for this deep truth of who you are, your own uniqueness, your divine identity in spirit, and to do that without comparison. And God knows there are so many people to compare oneself to. But it is of no value to do that because it is about the inner truth of your being. And it is about being true to your piece of God's infinite nature that you are here to bring forth into expression. Your piece of God's infinite nature that you have been entrusted to bring forth into expression. And if you don't do it, it will be missing. If you don't do it, it will be missing. And so I want to encourage you to start thinking about something that Dr. Kathy Ann Lewis recommended to a group of ministers, and that is to begin to consider your ideal day. What would be your ideal day in your life and ministry? In other words, can you begin to construct a life in ministry and a wholeness of living that matches the shape of your soul? And Parker Palmer asks the question, is what you are doing your life? Is what you are doing your true life? Is how you spend your time every day actually your true life? I think that's a good question. The external call to ministry, as I see it, is about carrying this life divine in you into expression. It is to be so filled in it and filled with it that it cannot help but spill over into the work that you do. The external call to ministry, as I see it this year, is just so simply, I think I see it this way every year, is just so simply to love and to serve. It is to so deeply love the life divine in the people who come to you that you relate to them in such a way that they just can't help but know it themselves. That you are actually fanning the flame of the divine in them in a way that they can no longer deny it, and that you serve that truth in them and assist them to awaken to the shape of their own soul and to live a life that matches it. This is, I believe, the call to ministry. And I know that this requires work on your part to do it. Work within to keep reaching to the divine in yourself, and work to see the divine in others. I was at an ordination a couple of weeks ago, and Dr. Teal was there, and he shared Ernest Holmes' call to ministry. And I only hope you haven't heard this so many times that it is of interest to you, but it's not of interest to you. But anyway, you must need to hear it again, because here I am saying it. So this is what Ernest Holmes wrote in 1955. The audience comes to you and they are hungry to know that there is some intimate relationship you have with the universe. They are hungry to know that as a result of that, something definite will happen out here. Make everything you do the result of your consciousness. Make everything you do the result of your consciousness. Spend much time treating the audience until you know they are healed, before you even show up to speak to them. But here's the paragraph that gets me. No one should be in this work unless they love people. And I mean a love of people no matter what they do, what they say, or how they act, because we are all children. We are all hell-bent for heaven in the same way. The whole world is looking for something that it will feel safe in, something that at last will not let them down. You can't give that to them unless you have it. A leader is one who works within himself until that which he has discovered he cannot help imparting. A leader is one who works within herself until that which she has discovered she cannot help imparting. Roger also shared a quotation from Dr. Fred Vogt, which you have probably heard too. It's from Isaiah. And I remember the first time I ever heard this, Dr. Fred was just a few years away from his transition, so he was an older man at that time. We were in Puerto Vallarta for a minister's convocation. And I remember him just sitting on a table in, the room that we were in, and he brought out this little folded piece of paper that was pretty tattered out of his wallet. And he had been carrying it with him ever since his first days in ministry because someone had shared it to him. And it says this: "The Spirit of the Lord God is upon me because he has anointed me to preach good tidings to the meek, to bind up the brokenhearted, to proclaim liberty to the captives and the opening of the prison to them that are bound, to comfort all who mourn, to give them beauty for ashes, the oil of joy for mourning, and the garment of praise for the spirit of heaviness, that they might be called sturdy oaks of righteousness, and that God might be glorified." I'm going to read it again. "The Spirit of the Lord God is upon me because he has anointed me to preach good tidings to the meek, to bind up the brokenhearted, to proclaim liberty to the captives and the opening of the prison to them that are bound, to comfort all who mourn, to give them beauty for ashes, the oil of joy for mourning, and the garment of praise for the spirit of heaviness, that they might be called sturdy oaks of righteousness, and that God might be glorified." As a minister, you will do these things. You will speak the words of truth that make people glad and that help them see the divine reality of their being. You will comfort those who are brokenhearted and who are experiencing loss. You will share spiritual ideas that free people from imprisonment and from the belief in limitation. The awesome thing about being a minister is that people will bring their lives to you. People will bring their lives to you, and you will give them beauty for ashes. And I want you to know that phrase just knocks me out. You will give them beauty for ashes. And you will teach them about the abiding reality of God and that God in them is greater than anything that they are going through. And in the midst of despair, you will call them back first into hope and then into faith. You will help people know the shape of their own soul and their own deep gladness and how that might meet the world's need. So all of these things you will do. But that's for the future. That is for the future. The call of ministry for you right now is to just be here right now. To just be here right now in this moment of completion, in this time of understanding that you said you were going to do something and you did it. And you walked across all of the thresholds and jumped through the hoops, the hoops, and made it through the turnaround points and all of the places where you thought, I'm not doing this anymore. And you've made it all the way to this place. And you're beautiful to look upon for who you are, but also for all of that. I encourage you to relax and to celebrate this time before Asilomar. And to do your best to not go rushing ahead and not try to figure it out or anticipate very much of anything, but be in the completion. Because the way we complete is the way we begin. And if you can let your completion be full, the beginning can be full, as well. It is in the meadow at Asilomar that you will start experiencing the second great turning. The third will be your ordination. But what I know is that as you arrive in the meadow at Asilomar, all that you have learned, all that you have realized, all that has been revealed in you, all the ways in which God has been glorified in you, and most of all, the life divine in you that you have courted and begun to live powerfully will meet you there. And the life divine will take you by the hand, and it will walk you across through the meadow, up to your panels, and back down again to the great acclaim of everybody saying, you did it, and here's our new minister. So I invite you just to be here now, to feel this time, and to know absolutely, absolutely, that you're coming forth into expression for and as the greater love and service that Spirit has had planned for you from before the beginning. Thank you.